Welcome to our review on ionic bonding. First thing we actually need to understand then is what we're talking about when we refer to this thing called an ion. Quite simply, if we're talking about an ion, we are talking about a charged particle. Now the key thing to remember is that these ions can either have a positive charge or a negative charge. From when we looked at the structure of the atom, hopefully we remember that electrons are negatively charged particles. So each electron has a negative charge on it. So if we have our atom, which remember has a neutral charge because it's got the same number of protons and electrons in its form as an atom. So if we lose an electron from the atom, we end up with a positively charged ion. Because what's happened there is, even though we started with the same number of protons and electrons, as soon as we lose one electron, there's one more positive charge in terms of our protons than there are in terms of the negative charges from the electrons. So overall, it has a positive charge. If the opposite happens to our atom and it gains an electron, then it will become a negatively charged ion because it has one more negative charge than positive charges. What we actually find then is, if we're going to have a reaction between a metal and a non-metal, then electrons are going to be transferred and they're going to move from the metal atoms to the non-metal atoms. Okay, so that actually means that our metal atoms will lose electrons and therefore they will have a positive charge on their ion, and then our non-metal atoms are going to gain electrons, and that means that the non-metal ions have a negative charge. So our metal ions with a positive charge and our non-metal ions with a negative charge then attract towards each other, and that forms this thing called an ionic bond.